welcome to episode 6 of the Ball for God podcast. We're still here in the lighthouse. We wanted to get a special episode for Nick Hill as he wanted to be here in the cabins, and here we are.
Here we are, Russ. Yeah, when I got a hold of Coach Hill, he said, "I want to go to the cabins." I said, "Hey, me and Russ, Doc Young, we'll come to SIU." He said, "Nope, I want to come to the cabins." So there's a lot of different cabins that Rend Lake Cabins in the Woods. They own several. They own like 700 of them. But the lighthouse is the special one. We got the turkey. We got the big buck. And for Coach Hill, we wanted the best for him.
Yes, he's a very good person, very good coach. And just it's special to have him on here. And not only do we have him on here, but we have Coach Tim Wills of the Rend Lake boys. And then we have Gage Peterson, a basketball player from Waltonville up the road.
We have 3 huge guests today. I mean, honestly, if you look in Southern Illinois, I was thinking about when we were preparing this week. Nick Hill, tremendous athlete from DuQuoin. Multi-sport, 2-time. He was an all-state football and basketball player. Obviously, after Western Kentucky, ended up at SIU, had a great 2-year starting career at SIU after he was behind Joel Simberski for a while. Then Nick took over, had an unbelievable career at SIU football. Played in the Arena League. Obviously, we all know he's the head coach of the SIU Salukis right now.
Contract extension time.
Contract extension coming up. We'll talk to him about that. Then we get Coach Wills on, Tim Wills, all-stater from Benton, played in the early 80s for the Benton Rangers under Rich Herrin, went to SIU-Edwardsville, then came back to Rend Lake where he's coached on and off for going on 30 years. He's been athletic director for Rend Lake College, all the sports there. He's been the head men's, I don't want to say boys, men's basketball coach at Rend Lake. Took a little hiatus from that, and now he's been back, and he's the head coach again. And Coach Wills is a great guy from the area, a lot of local talent. And then the guy that you know well, Gage Peterson, who might be the top player in our area right now.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the top players for sure, as we got many top players. I mean, the 1A basketball is loaded. We talked about it many weeks before. Jefferson County basketball is really good, and he's one of the top players in that. I mean, you can list off maybe even Nathaniel Marlowe, Kyle Cooper. You throw Cale Maurer. I mean, there's a bunch of good talent in there, and he's one of those talented players right now.
Hey, let's get cracking.
Yeah, and now let's get into our trivia. As we're having one of our guests is Tim Wills, played during a very successful time at Benton basketball. And how many regional titles did he win as a player at Benton High School? I mean, he was obviously a very talented player. I believe he was all-state, correct?
If not, we're saying he was.
Yes, if he was, he's a very good guy, so he deserves to be.
In our book, he's all-state.
Yes. But how many regional titles did Tim Wills win as a player for the Benton Rangers? For Benton Ranger basketball.
For Benton Ranger basketball. Hey, that's our All-Stars and Stitches trivia question for this week. And Big Dave told me to tell you, guys, call them for winter stuff, winter apparel. If it's leather jackets, if it's hoodies, if it's scarves, if it's coats, anything with the winter chill, All-Stars and Stitches has you. 418 East Main and Benton. I'm going to let Russ do their phone number. It's fun to do, 435-555-555-555-555. But give them a call. They're there Monday through Friday. If they're not there, Big Dave told me to tell everybody, call them anytime and leave a message. I mean, if it's Sunday at 4 in the morning, you can still call and leave a message. Russ, what's the number?
You mean start calling?
I wish you'd start calling Dave at 4 in the morning.
All right. Well, the phone number is 618-435-555-555.
It's the big fella. All right, that's our All-Star Stitches trivia question. Tim Wills, how many regional titles? I'm still leaning in. Why do I think I need to lean into this thing? Austin says I could wake the dead as loud as I talk. But that's our trivia.
All right, well, let's get into our first guest, as it's a big one with Nick Hill.
All right, our first guest, Nick Hill. Nick, I've known you a long time. Obviously, the head football coach at Southern Illinois University. You don't have to introduce yourself, but for us, to all of our people watching.
I don't like the introductions anyway, so hopefully, we've known each other a long time, Southern Illinois audience, so nobody needs to go through all the high school, college. Happy to be here. Other than coming and hanging out with a couple Benton guys, I feel like Matt Malkovich needs a microphone right here. That would make it perfect.
I will tell you this, Coach. I called Malk, that we both know, and I said, what do you want me to ask Nick? He said, ask him who the best chauffeur in the greater Orlando area is if you're trying to get a husband and wife that maybe the husband's playing arena football and the wife's trying to get back to Illinois. Who's the best chauffeur driver?
Man,
is it Brandy Irvin or is it? I said Brandy Irvin, Brandy Malkovich, or Matt Malkovich, or his mother-in-law
and Brandy's mom. I mean, yes. I think they've all taken us to the airport or something. Yeah, it's crazy. That time down there with Matt, like, they became super close friends. Heck, we were there when their first baby was born. I think my wife was at the hospital. I've spent whether it's recruiting on their couch or whatever it is. Like, I miss those guys.
Great people. We're just thankful. Russ and I are just thankful to have you here. I mean, I know, and I'm not going to beat a dead horse. We were talking before we went on the air. Russell's experience and all this stuff is a first-year student at SIU. I've been around sports forever. Obviously, you have too. But take people through what's going on. Your season's over now, and they think, oh, he's the head football coach at SIU. He just gets to hang out till spring ball. I mean, tell people how wild it is right now.
Yeah, it's we need a long podcast. But, yeah, some people like that, you know, I still live in DuQuoin, you know, so if you're at Walmart, like, well, you get some downtime after the season, you know, like even still get sometimes they don't know what you do. Like, do you got to teach a class down there? Or, you know, like, but no, honestly, right now, it's always busy. I don't even like using that word because we choose this profession, you know, but the season, there's long hours. But at least there's some routine to it. You know what you got to get done on Sunday. You played the game Monday, preparing game plan wise leading up to Saturday. So there's kind of some routine. What time, you know, you're going to get to pick up the kids maybe on Thursdays, kind of whenever the game plan's in. Thursday night, go to dinner. But then now it's just like, you know, pretty busy. I mean, obviously the transfer portal, high school signing day, official visits. You know, like tonight when I leave here, I'll drive back to Marion, and we have one recruit coming, so I'll meet him for dinner. And then tomorrow we have 2 more guys coming on campus, so it'll be breakfast, it'll be meetings, it'll be meeting with their families, it'll be dinner tomorrow night with a different set of recruits. And then we get a little bit of a break starting on Saturday through recruiting goes dead on Sunday through, and then January 6th, it'll just be a complete chaos really with, because the transfer portal doesn't officially open up for FBS and FCS kids till January 2nd, but school starts, you know, January 12th, I think it is, for us. So it's like a 10-day window to maybe sign 10 kids. And so, you know, that might be up to like 20 different kids on campus or more. So it's, you know, your staff coordinating all that, trips to the airport, coming back. You know, it's just really 24 hours a day. You sleep and you get up and you do it. For us, after the season is obviously, for me, you know, we have about 130 some people, part of the 105 players, and then your staff, your support staff, and really everybody needs a little piece of your time. So getting through 105 player meetings usually takes me a couple weeks, you know, and it's a full day of those because you some meetings might be an hour, some of them might be 10 minutes, some of them might be half an hour. But getting through 105 meetings of that, and then meeting individually with all your staff members, exit interviews, and then while doing that is formulating your plan for the next year's roster. So you're also having, you know, meetings with the administration on you know, the direction we can go. You've got scholarship numbers to look at. And so that's really planning on like, hey, executing this plan for recruiting. And a lot of it is just you got to adapt and adjust. You know, in recruiting, you might find out about a kid the night before and you're trying to get him on a visit 48 hours later, and you're trying to do all the homework you need to do to get those guys in. So it's just it's a lot of meetings, it's a lot of talking, it's a lot of phone calls. But that's what you got to do. So you also just have to stay grounded. My personality is, you know, and the most important thing is like my wife and kids, you know, and so sometimes you just have to say like, this is the amount of time I have to do that, and then tomorrow those problems will still be there, but I got to get home, and I got to, the most important thing in my life is them, I think when you have obviously with this podcast, when you know, put your faith in Jesus and you believe that, you treat people that way, like, you know, it's all going to work out how it should.
Obviously, with recruiting and just being a coach now for 10 years, it comes with relationships. And what's the relationships you've kind of built with the players, the staff? What's that mean to you to have those guys?
Yeah, I think, you know, you hear that a lot in coaching, like, why'd you get into coaching? I think as coaches, sometimes, like, I talk to the staff about this, you always got to remind yourself, like, why did you want to become a coach? And it should be, and my reason is because you enjoy relationships ultimately with young men, but also your staff and people. And it's because, you know, like, I got into it, you know, and seeing the impact that coaches had on my life are probably the biggest mentors, you know. So that's why I went to school to be a teacher, a special ed teacher. I tell recruits that all the time. Like, if I wasn't doing this job, then I would be probably a special ed teacher somewhere in Southern Illinois coaching high school football, you know, like, because I wanted to have an impact on kids, maybe not even just football players, but students. And so relationships are everything in life, you know, and I believe that God has me in that seat because then you can have an impact on a lot of different people. And even in these exit interviews that we have throughout the year, and college football is great. Everybody sees that it's different now. People can leave. There's a lot of new players each year. There's some players on your team you got to have tough conversations with that maybe aren't getting to play as much but want to find a new home where they can go play more. You know, 105 guys on your team, they all go through a lot of different stuff, as you know, like I do, you guys do. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on behind inside their body, inside their mind, mental health, things back home. And so you got to form that relationship. That's what I always say, like, culture, relationship equals time if you want to have. So you got to be able to dive into their lives. You got to show them that you care. You can't just say that that's what you're about. You know, everybody can see through a guy that's just, you know, feeding a bunch of crap, you know, like, so they're going to know, like, no, what he said he's going to do, that's who he is. Like, you know, spending time, as much time as you can. There's only one person, so you also have to trust your other staff. Hire good men that are going to have the same philosophy as you, as their position coach or their support staff. So then there's a group of people that are feeding into these guys. But yeah, I would say that's the most rewarding thing. You know, the wins and losses, obviously that's how I'll be judged to the outside. But to me, I don't think that, I remind myself this all the time. I believe that whenever, hopefully one day, you know, you get to the pearly gates and you hopefully hear, like, well done, good and faithful servant. He's not going to ask you how many games you won. You know what I mean? But it's going to be like, I blessed you with all those kids. Did you make the impact? Did you spread the gospel? Did you show that on just how you act? I feel like the locker room, I always felt this as a player, man, like, it's really the real world. We got guys from all different backgrounds, all different races, all different religions sometimes, you know. And but what an unbelievable way to spread the gospel. I think that the number one way to spread the gospel is how you live your life, you know, the example that you set. And there will be conversations or times to then dig into the weeds on maybe who Jesus is, or how do you keep responding the way that you did. Or I remind myself that when I got to stand in front of the team after a tough overtime, you know, 5 overtime loss to South Dakota, like, these are the moments they're going to remember on who you are, you know, to stand up and how you're going to respond to tough situations. And then sometimes those players in those individual meetings are coming to you like they're going through a tough time, and that's where you're able to share, like, for me personally, this is how I get through it, and it's my relationship with Jesus. Like, I always tell them, like, Jesus has to be number one for me. Doesn't, like, everybody has to make that decision. For me to be a good husband, a good father, and ultimately a good coach, I feel like it has to be in that order. You know, it's got to be Jesus. It has to be my wife. It has to be my kids. Then it has to be the team in order to be good at all of them, you know. And when they can see that, then they can respond. There's gonna be ups and downs. Everybody's chasing happiness. Happiness is kind of fleeting. You can be happy and sad and mad all in the same day. But you're really looking for that peace that I feel like you can find with your relationship. You got to be grounded. What your identity's wrapped up in. I tell them that all the time. Like, if your identity is wrapped up on how you played or your performance, or if we ultimately won or lost, man, you're going to live a rough life, because there's going to be some down times. It doesn't mean you're not going to be disappointed, sad, mad, all those emotions that Jesus talks about in the Bible. God lays out all of those. But man, when your identity is wrapped up in Christ, you can take on all that stuff. I can still be standing here today knowing that we were 7-5, missed the playoffs. However anybody feels about that, like, ultimately I'm not judged by that. It's how I'm going to treat those guys and mentor those guys in the locker room.
All right, Coach. My dad told me, Big Dave said, Travis, you're going to feel like you've been with an evangelist, and I haven't been around you in a few years, but I was raised non-denominational, so I'm ready to take an offering and an altar call. Are we going to have an altar call now? Because I'm telling you, man, I'm serious. And I'm not just saying that. I'm not joking around with you. But, you have a chance to be involved in young men and women that work for the staff and different things' lives. And, yes, ultimately, Southern Illinois University is paying you to be the head football coach. And you're in charge of 105 to 130 total people. But what you're talking about here, that's how we'll be judged one day. It won't be wins and losses. It'll be how you lived your life and the tools God's given you, the abilities He's given you, the talent He's given you. And I'm just going to say this. I told you this before we went on. Russell owns Ballin' for God. So I'm not, I don't have a lasso around me owned by some big corporation. And this is not live. Obviously, we record this. But I'm going to say this. I went to SIU. My wife went to SIU. My mother went to SIU. Some people, and I'm not going to use the L word, but some people think you're at a far left school. I'm just telling you. And it's pretty awesome to hear you speak about Jesus Christ and the school allowing you to do all this. And I know that Jesus is King is a big deal. To me, buddy, that gets me more excited than you can tell me who the top 5 prospects you're bringing in. And Lord knows I love sports. But that to me is the coolest thing. I didn't know you were going to talk about all this when you came today.
Yeah. No, and I think, like, obviously you're at a state school, but I think then, like we've had guys on our team that are Muslim.
Yeah, I know every kid at your school is not a born again Christian.
And then it would be like those guys are some of my favorite guys. That if you would ask them, how was your experience with Coach Hill? Like it's like, man, he bought us food, got carry out during Ramadan, made sure that we had everything we needed. Like, I feel like, whenever you read the gospel, I believe that's what Jesus would be like. Sure. You know what I mean? Like, the only way to, minister or you spread which I feel like is the Great Commission, is to spread the word. The only way you're going to do that, to ever get a person to then receive the word or whatever it is, like, you got to meet them where they're at.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, you got to meet them where they're at. It's like, hey, man, there's guys on our team, like, if they feel like, man, Coach Hill knows that I went out drinking or whatever
Sure.
it is, like, for 10 years, like, I've seen it all. Those are the best times to talk to somebody about the guy. I was talking to Coach Nagy this morning, and who's a believer. Probably would he's in the middle of the season, but getting him on. But it's I always tell the guys too. I mean, look at the guys that Jesus chose to be the disciples, and it's like they were all kind of renegades,
ordinary men,
like, and that so many times, like, traditional church scares them away.
Sure.
That's what I always say, like, man, this has got to be a safe place where we're going to meet you where, like, our chapels. That's why, like, I heard Ryan, like, how it grew. You know what I mean? Like, some of our best chapels, I don't know if, like, people like hearing this, but, like, man, there was a time this year in chapel I'll remember forever, and we had a player and a coach that, that's just how he is. Like, he cusses a lot, and he just opened up his heart. He might have said 15 cuss words right there in chapel, But it was like,
But it
this
was
is
real.
this is what it's about, man. Like, you know what I mean? If you felt like so boxed in that, man, I got to be on my best behavior here, like you're just open your heart. He said, I'm at the beginning stages of this. I don't know what I'm doing,
I don't know what the F this means, but I feel it.
Yeah,
I mean, seriously.
Like you would want that coach or player to feel like, keep coming back. You know what I mean? Hey, it's like at church, like, hey, you can't dress that way. You need to get a little dress. He ain't ever coming back. Or if the first time he comes to chapel, he feels like, like that's why I don't come. You know what I mean? I felt like I was being judged a little bit. Like these guys know like my past. Like, shoot, if we're all screwed, if Jesus was judging us on that, and like, so I think building your team like that, wherever you're at in your walk of life, or it's a parent, they know that. Like, had a kid a couple years ago that was like that. Mom was here, wanted to make sure that he was going to be. I have a picture of Jesus behind my desk, and it's like, I can promise you one thing: your son is going to be loved like the rest of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, just because your religion is different, like it's not that we're not going to recruit him, love him. You know what I mean? Accept him, and he had an awesome time here.
Don't you think, Coach, that our world would be better if we lived that way everywhere?
Yeah, I mean, it would be a lot better, and same thing, politics, like I obviously have views on that, but it's like, you can't sit in church and then say that you're like, this is what I believe, and then you hate the guy that has the political sign that might be a different Democrat, Republican, whatever you are, you know what I mean? Like, whenever he says like, love your neighbor, that's not like, what if he has a different political sign than you like? It still, presses you to still love them, you know what I mean? And care for them, or whatever you see that as being. But our world would be a lot better, I think, if we could, I say that all the time, like, people are scared of tough conversations.
Sure.
Like, it's uncomfortable. It is like,
they can talk on these.
Yeah, you can text and do that kind of stuff, or put something online, but it's like, hey, how about we sit down? We could have different political views, or religious views, or whatever, but now let's just talk, and we can still disagree on this. Some of my best friends, we disagree on a lot of things, but they're still going to come over for Christmas. We're still going to have our friend get together. We're still going to go to dinner. We're still going to love each other, and you can still like have those differences, but you still care about each other. If our world was more of that, I think it would be a better place.
Yeah. Now speaking, because going from DuQuoin High School to going out to the real world, it's a lot different. I know I went to Benton, and now I'm going to SIU. But what's it mean to you to, that you have God everywhere you go? As you went to Western Kentucky, to SIU, and probably, you played in arena football, but having God by your side, what's that mean to you?
Yeah, I think like now looking back, like you, all of us grew up here in Southern Illinois. I think it's the greatest place on the earth, right? Like, when you can see that God's with you, when you can connect the dots looking backwards, right? To be like, man, look at him. Even in times that you're like, where's he at? Like, hey, I need you, God. This is what I was praying for. Oftentimes his timing and what he wants is a lot different than what we want. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I really want this to happen. It didn't happen. That doesn't mean God's not listening, and then as you grow older, you can see exactly where God was placing you, why, and he was with you the entire way. I tell our guys that all the time. Like, you can't connect the dots looking forward. And you might pray a prayer today, and you should pray big prayers. That's what he asks you to do. And just because it doesn't happen right now doesn't mean he's not working or taking you or closing doors. It might be something that you absolutely feel like inside, but we're all, selfish at some point. That's the downfall of man. Like, he might be closing a door on purpose. You might know exactly, like, man, I feel like God wants me to hear, and it just doesn't open up. And then you look down the line 10 years later and you see why that door closed. I use that example all the time with our guys, and these past couple of weeks, all of our exit interviews, like, I would say one of the biggest, like when I went to Chicago, and went to training camp with the Bears, there was 4 of us, had a good shot of making the team because there were just 2 undrafted rookie free agents and then 2 starters, Rex Grossman and Kyle Orton. So one of us were going to make the team and as the 3rd guy. And when I got cut, I can remember driving back home, people are, sad and stuff. And I'm like, they're, and obviously sad too, but it's like, man, I had a good perspective on life of it's going to be fun, it's going to work out, not where I meant to be. And I always say, like, it was really like the next month, I was in the rec center and I met who is now my wife, Alicia. She's from Iowa. She had just transferred to SIU. And it's like, so pictures all of my office, all of my kids and everything. And it's like, if what at the time felt like, one of the worst things, getting called in, getting cut, not going to make it. Like, God didn't have plans for me to be in Chicago and be a quarterback and bouncing around the NFL. He had plans for me coming back, living in my parents' basement, meeting my wife, and then because those kids wouldn't be here. I use that all the time. Like, you see all these the girls that are old enough now, they know them all, and it's like they wouldn't be here. You know what I mean? So, like, you just have to have a great perspective on life and know that God is with you. Even when it's like something you feel like, man, I really want this and it doesn't come true, then you have to be able to like take that curve in the road and know that God has me going there, trust that. And, ultimately that's what we live for, So if you say that, like, I'm going to trust God and he's going to have me where I'm supposed to be, then that's where you're supposed to be and you got to go for it.
I'm going to switch gears on you just a little bit, because I know you don't like to brag on yourself, but I'm going to make you a little bit. For people that don't know, you were all-state in basketball and football. You went to a state title game your senior year in football. I want to know, just be blunt with me, did you want to be a pro basketball player or a pro football player?
Yeah, I mean, growing up, basketball for sure. Obviously I played basketball my freshman year in college, and then tried playing both sports at SIU. I always joke around about that all the time. Obviously, even like with DJ Williams, our starting quarterback was a really good basketball player in high school, and I always tell him that I would beat them all and all that kind of stuff. And I think it was the other day, like, pulled up or somebody, I think somebody in our quarterback room was like, I scored 1,400 points. And like, I was like, really? You know what I mean? And then it's like, I scored 2,000. So it's, but basketball was my deal, and that's another thing. Like, looking back, like the risk that it took to like switch sports, and like thinking back, like I just kind of went for it,
What happened?
It was God all the way.
You're at Western Kentucky, and I've probably asked you this on other sports shows, but I'm 47 now, Nick, and I forget things. When did it click that I'm leaving Western and I'm coming to Southern?
Yeah, I think it was I was playing at Western. Coach Kill had told me, like, if you ever do decide to switch sports or come back home, I'll have a spot for you, and so it was really like that whole time that year, I didn't redshirt. Like, I played as a freshman at Western Kentucky. And so, but I just felt like, I don't know, I was homesick, and I was only like 3 hours away, and I remember it was like the Carbondale Holiday Tournament, and my uncle ran into Coach Kill, and Coach Kill, like, he's the master,
still doing it.
He's still doing it. Like, that's when people like, what makes Coach Kill great and stuff. It's not the X's and O's. He's good at all of that, but it's more of just like, he knew what he was doing. So he was like, hey, how's Nick doing? He's like, yeah, I see he's not playing as much, tell him, make sure you relay, like, I still feel like he could come back here and play quarterback for me, So I remember Christmas break, I came home, my Uncle Norm was like, saw Coach Kill, and he, so I for whatever reason, I was just always thinking about that, and went in and decided to transfer. And at that time, Painter was here and just leaving, to leave, and then Coach Lowry was coming back to be the head coach, and he was like, yeah, for sure you can be, we'll let you play both. But I was going to be on football scholarship, play both, and went back and just did it, and knowing that like I could do both, and I still remember that day that I gave up basketball. Like, it was an emotional day for me, and looking back, that's why like Coach Kill had a huge impact on me, just believing in me, was probably seeing that I could be this guy. So I was the backup to Joel. We just got beat by Appalachian State. I was supposed to show up for practice. Rodney Watson called me because basketball had already started. And Coach Watson called me and was like, hey, take a couple days off. We just got back. And he was like, but Wednesday, start practice. So he was like, you need a couple days off from football. And I can remember having my exit meeting with Coach Kill. It's like, are you going to play basketball? I'm like, yeah. And I didn't know that was like a question if I'm not, And he was like, I think you need to take more than just 2 days off. Like, it's been a long season, give yourself some time. And then I'm Sharon Lipe, who just recently passed away, calls me again. I'm in class. Was like, come back up here. Coach Kill wants to talk to you again after class. I'm like, okay. I come up, and he's got some like Tony Romo film, and he's showing me this.
Is he the ultimate salesman?
Oh,
Is he the ultimate salesman?
And it's like, I left that, and I'm like, he didn't tell me I can't play basketball, Dad, but I feel like he really doesn't want me to play basketball. I'm going to be the starter, winter conditioning, being a captain, like you got to go all in, So I can remember going down and talking to Coach Lowry the next day, and I'm like, I don't think I'm going to play. And like, I was crying, and just knowing that like all those childhood things, like I'm really like stepping away from basketball, and going and do that. But, I lived with, at the time, Casey Raymer, who's the head pastor at the Vine. Wow. And he was my college roommate. And I can remember coming back the night before I was going to go tell Coach Lowry I wasn't going to play. Like, I was emotional in my but like even then, like putting those friends in your life, like living with Casey, who didn't even go to school at the time to be a pastor, but you just knew he had the wisdom and discernment, was a Christian man, like the roommates that you picked. And Casey Raymer, like college kid, like praying over you, college at Lewis Park, and then like having the confidence go in and be like, hey, I'm going to do this. I felt like I've prayed about it. This is what I'm going to do. And so that's how I ultimately gave up basketball. And I don't even know if I've said that full story before with Casey and how I decided to do it. But it was an emotional time. Then I just had to trust that, man, this is the way God's leading me, and I just went all in on football.
What time you got to be at your next thing?
I'm good.
You sure?
Oh, yeah.
A few more questions for you. I saw Coach Wills just walked in.
Yeah.
So Tim Wills, head basketball coach at Rend Lake College, is coming on next. But Russ, I'm gonna let you have the next question because Lord knows I'll ask him 50 in a row. But I'm telling you, we're offering an altar call when he's done.
Just talk about. We had Ryan on last week.
Yeah.
And he's obviously a great guy. It was an all Ryan show, but
Ryan Algram. So in case
Ryan Algram. But he transferred in during this spring semester of 2025. And you guys have a good program over there. He was talking about you and Jacqueline setting up the good Bible study group. What's that Bible study group mean to you? How does it help you? But not only the players, but helps you.
Who's Jacqueline?
Jacqueline
Crane. Is that her last?
Jacqueline Crane, yeah. She's from DuQuoin. And she's been like our really do it all. She was our GA, but operations. Chris Gillespie's our head of operations and does it all too. And Jacqueline's just been travels with us, does everything, does so many things for us. She's awesome, but has really led our chapels. Justin Raby did, and Justin and Jacqueline are close, and then Justin taking a new job, didn't have time to be down there as much, so Jacqueline kind of took it over. So, to me, like, man, I think a lot of times, like, in those things, like, it's just, man, the best part of my week, like in the hotels the night before, looking around, seeing the team that you're leading, and 25, 30 guys just piled in different rooms wherever we're at, whatever space we got, and I know Ryan talked to, we read a book this year, and it kind of always goes different places, and listening to the guys open up and talk about it. Like, I just like sitting back and listening, and obviously I chime in where I feel like maybe it's needed or whatever God has on my heart, but just listen to the guys and tell stories and, feed off of each other and give each other encouragement. Like, it's an awesome deal for the coaches that are in there, just feeling like, poured into, and I feel like that's why you want to go to those. Like, you'll always leave there just feeling better.
Do you ever? I'm going to ask you this. I know you told us you got a kid you got to meet in Marion that you're recruiting. I know it's a crazy busy time of year for you. Do you ever pinch yourself, a little kid from DuQuoin, Illinois, as the head coach at SIU?
Yeah, I mean, I do all the time, man. I've been extremely blessed. I really, looking back, like, when I was 30, getting that job, and
yeah, you're 40.
Yeah, I'm 40. I mean, now it's like, yeah, I speak as an old guy, looking back, and for sure, how it worked out, the story. I feel like I live as a product of Southern Illinois. Of like, I wouldn't be the head coach still if it wasn't for the roots of Southern Illinois, what it mattered. I still, for sure, probably wouldn't still be coaching here. I would have taken some of these, opportunities, or chased the dream of becoming an assistant and moving around. And now I'm here, and then I'm trying to chase the ladder. It would have just been a stop on the road, like it is for some coaches. But like, I've never wanted to leave. So I know that, like, I represent the whole, region of Southern Illinois, and want to make them proud. That's the hardest part of my job, is like, and my wife always tells me that it's tough, like, you want to win, not for yourself, but for everybody else, and carrying that, like, letting people down, and so, you can't let that weigh you down, but it also drives you to, like, work as hard as you possibly can, and fight the battles that you can. And ultimately, I think in that, I've always said this, like, regardless of what championships or anything like that, like, if I ever left a place, and ultimately I tell people that all the time, there will be another person that sits as the head coach at Southern Illinois University. But all the people one day, however many years that is, or there's nothing guaranteed in life, that, like, man, he was a good man. He was a good man to work for, whether that's staff that goes out all over the country, like, hey, how was it working at Southern? It's like, man, it was awesome, and you can live with, you can lay your head at bed at night knowing that you don't have any regrets on how you treated people. There's always going to be things in schematic sports, and could I have done this differently, or called a different play, or recruited a different person, or made a change on a staff, and you can do all that, but, like, ultimately, like, how you treat people, how your work ethic was, never cheating a day, giving it everything that you have. We're human, we're going to make mistakes, but not in the way that you treat people, ultimately. So, yeah, I pinch myself every day, grateful that I still have this opportunity.
Russ, ask Les question. I know he's got to get going.
You've obviously touched on it in little pieces here and there, but just kind of share to us what your testimony is, like, where you began your faith. Was it in high school, college? Where was it at for you?
Yeah, I'll try to make it quick.
Cliff notes.
Cliff notes. I don't have, and that's okay too. Like, I've heard our team say that, like, hey, ask them to lead. Justin would do this. Like, we would have different people lead the chapel, and it'd be a great. And then you've been there. Like, some people have this amazing testimony that just brings the house down, and it's like, well, I'm not going to get up there and speak. I don't know if I have this, some defining moment that. I've always said this, like, I feel like God is always, he's like, God chooses us, right? We ultimately have to make that decision,
yes.
But he made the decision to come after us. And I just felt like as a young kid, like I always had this heart for God. And I had a teacher in my life, Mrs. Davison, my 5th grade teacher, that always was telling me that. Like, she was a huge Christian lady, husband was, preached at times. One of his sons, one of my best friends. And she would just always tell me, like, I believe God has it, like, you have something, like, God, you know, is in your life, Nick, like how you are, like, as a 5th grader, you know. And she got me a poster in 5th grade, you know, do your best, God will do the rest. You know, I loved basketball. I had a basketball. She was always constantly just feeding me little things, then like Bible scriptures. And then obviously I was friends with her son, so every time I was over there, she would ask to pray. And I just felt like she had a huge impact on the direction of, like, trying to learn more about God. And listen, we're all fall short, you know what I mean? Like, of things that you're not proud of, how you acted, what you do, all of those things. So I think it's a lifelong journey. And then I think once I got married, and I've told people this all the time, it was probably even a couple years into, and I was always speaking at FCA, always a part of FCA, you know, as a college student with Roger Light, like, where can we go? Finding Crystal Emmerich's house to have FCA for all student athletes, you know, always involved. And, but really it was like 2018, 2019, like, I just started, like, really with Casey, like, asking, like, just a ton more questions, where I felt like I've got to learn more. You know what I mean? Like, I'm kind of like right here with my faith, but, like, asking a ton of questions, listening to podcasts, listening to books. You know, like Paul, who is Paul? You know what I mean? Like, I'm a Christian, but I couldn't get up there and give you the rundown on Paul. So it's like, hey, here's a great book just on Paul, you know, like, all those things. And I think I still find myself, that's the thing, I'm honest with them, like, you find yourself, like, so busy, and it's like, man, I haven't read the Bible in a couple months really well, you know what I mean? So, like, now you got to get grounded and get back to those things. But you need people in your life, I've learned, that will hold you accountable. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean, like, tell you're a bad person if you're not doing that, but we all need, you know, people in our life, men's groups, people that you're always checking on, you know, reminders, all those things. So I think it's been just a constant pursuit since I was a little kid, you know. And then ultimately, yeah, like, being saved and the pursuit of learning more, you know. And then it's like, man, like, really, as you grow older, like, how can I, you know, really share the gospel? You know, if people think of me as head coach Nick Hill, football guy, sports guy, and that's the first thing that comes to mind, then I've probably not done my job. You know, I was given this platform, and like when you talk to your dad, or I've got to go speak, like, I never turned down that spot, that opportunity, or come up to Benton and be on this podcast and know that I have an opportunity to, so if 10 people watch this, or 6,000, you know, it's an opportunity that, like, man, I listened to Coach Hill talk about his faith, you know. And so hopefully they see me not as coach, but Christian and coach. And that's the most important thing to me in my life.
I'm going to say this, I'm going to let you get out of here, but it means something to me, and I'll try not to get emotional because I can be like my dad sometimes. My mom, she's tough. She's never emotional. 5'2" Italian. She doesn't care. No, I'm just kidding. I love you, Penny. But my dad, he'll anything can get him going. But, you know, I call you. I know you're super busy. I know all this stuff, man. And you text me back, and I'm like, hey, and I don't have a clue about this equipment. I mean, these guys, I don't even know what this microphone's called. I have no clue. And I'm like, hey, I'm trying to act like I know what I'm saying. Hey, we can bring the equipment to you. We can do the show. You know, I have no clue what this stuff is. And you're like, no, man, I want to come to the cabins. I mean, that meant something to me. I mean, we're just two guys. You know I've known you for a long time, but I know everything you got going on. I thought it was really cool that you take the time as a Division I football coach to Hey, balling for God. Russell's 18 years old, man. But he's doing awesome things. The Lord's working in his life. It means a lot to us that you drove here and this time of season with everything with NIL and trying to keep your roster. We appreciate it very much.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity. I think, oftentimes the closest I feel to God is, like me doing this, like refuels me. Even honestly, some of it's like I knew that I could get away for 50 minutes and just be in my truck by myself. You know what I mean?
You could think.
Like, you could think. Like that's when you feel closest to God. And sometimes I like to run or work out, or sometimes just go for a walk. Like during the season, like that's where you can be closest to God. So, like I appreciate you thinking of me to ask me to come.
Yeah, awesome. I just want to say thank you again for coming on, because obviously, like you said, I mean, it's just truly a blessing to have you on, because Dr. Young is here, but it's just
you showed up an hour and a half late, bud.
I was walking down my road and there was somebody with like a homeless dude with like a bag over his head.
This is real life. This is Balling for God podcast. We can't make this up.
But like I was saying,
it's a good outfit here.
Great way to end it.
like I was saying though, I truly appreciate.
I thought you finally found a date. I thought he finally found a date. You had an hour and a half late.
This is what makes it. I mean, this is the culture.
This is.
These are the guys that make things go. You know what I mean?
Hey, when I said we were going to come to SIU, it's these guys. If we didn't have him, I don't even know how to carry this stuff.
Hey, I wouldn't be able to operate with those type of people in my life.
But yeah, appreciate you coming on, because obviously it means a lot to me, because I grew up. Obviously, I didn't grow up like reading about you in high school, but I grew
I'm
up.
too old, man. I'm way too old.
You weren't even born yet.
Yeah, well, you weren't even born while I was in high school.
Growing up, you were the head coach at SIU, so it's just.
He couldn't guard me when he was 12. What was the name of that court we played at?
I don't remember.
Where's that place behind that church? That little court in DuQuoin. It's the first time.
The youth club?
Yeah. No, we were outside. There's an outdoor court. If you come in from Benton, if you come in past Coach Martin's house, what's that road?
Yeah, Park Street.
Park Street. You come in from Park Street.
Yeah, and we were at the Baptist church on Park Street, back behind there.
Yes,
that court.
yes.
Yeah.
Who was with you?
I don't remember.
Who had been your best friend when you were like 13, 14?
There was just two of us?
Yeah. It was 2-on-2. I mean, I was just taking him to the woodshed. I'm 7 years older than him. I'm trying to dominate. I'm 20 years old trying to dominate like a 13-year-old. I guarantee he was scoring on me. Guarantee you was.
That's what made you better, man. I would show up at that park all the time. I feel like that's how you got some street cred from the guys. Is like you show up, get your butt beat.
That's great. Nick, I appreciate it. Russ appreciates it. Dr. Young finally showed up. He appreciates it too. Thanks, man.
All right, appreciate it.
All right, now we're on to our second guest of the show, and it's Rend Lake basketball coach, boys, men's.
You did that earlier, boys. You said you're the boys coach.
It's men's basketball coach of the Rend Lake Warriors, and he's in the midst of a season right now. And Coach Wills, you want to just introduce yourself, let everybody know who you are?
Yeah, I'm Tim Wills. I'm originally from Benton and went to high school here and graduated from Benton High School, and then attended Rend Lake, and then been working there now. This is my 35th year working there, so I did 18 years as the head coach back when I first got there, and then was off for 14 years, and this is my second year back. So I feel like a rookie doing his 20th year.
35 years at Rend Lake, and if you take Dr. Young and Russ's combined age, it's 36. So that's
Look at that. That makes me feel really old.
Does it make you feel good? Well, I'm just going to throw this out, obviously, and I'm still doing this. I've been doing this forever, and I'm still leaning into this microphone. They said they could pick me up from Benton, and I'm still leaning in like I need to. You obviously played at Benton. Played for your dad first?
No,
didn't play for Dad?
I never did have that privilege. My brother got to play for him as maybe a fifth or sixth grader, but I never did play for my dad. He'd already retired. I played for Norman Carlisle,
okay,
Tom Whittington in junior high.
Okay, so you're with for people that don't know, Burton Wills, your father, longtime coach in the Benton system. A lot of people, my dad's generation, will say this. People older than my father will say this, and this isn't because we're trying to do this because you're here, but my dad's taught me this my whole life. I'm 47 years old, that Burton Wills and Rich Herrin were the reasons why Benton basketball was what it was, because the work that your dad did at the lower level, getting kids ready, it was a streamless transition to Rich, and that's not everywhere.
No, not at all. They were very good friends. It didn't start that way. Can I tell you the story of how they met?
Yeah, I would love to hear it.
On the softball field. My dad played fast pitch softball for a team out of Whittington that was really good with Bob Johnston, and there's a bunch of really good players on that team. And Coach Herrin had just come to Benton, and he was on another team. And they had a play at the plate. Coach Herrin's trying to score, and Benton had a relatively small catcher, and Coach Herrin just plowed over him and sent him to the backstop.
I can't believe Rich would do that.
Yeah, my dad playing third base took offense to that, and he hollers at him. He said, "Hey, big boy, next time you want to do that, try it down here at third base." Yes. So they get into this shouting match, and they end up being very, very good friends and coached, my dad helped with the junior high, obviously, building players for the high school. But several years later, he's like, "Why did you do that? Why did you just run him over? I mean, why did you do that in a game?" He said, "I never learned how to slide."
I can hear him saying it
So
right
he
now.
didn't do it it wasn't that he chose to run over him. He didn't know how to slide, so that was his only option.
Love it, love it. So,
Typical Rich Herrin story there.
I love Rich, and obviously I know you could tell a lot of stories about Rich. You play for Benton, you go on, and you're Rend Lake, then Edwardsville, correct?
Yes, played at SIU-Edwardsville.
So after SIUE, then what?
I stayed there 1 year after I finished playing. I was a graduate assistant. Thought I wanted to be a college basketball coach. Did that for 1 year, and then Coach Herrin offered me the same position at SIU Carbondale. So I was grad assistant down there for a couple of years with him on some of those really good teams that he had, and then I got the job at Rend Lake in 1992.
So you're at Southern with a lot of former Benton players while you're coaching, right? You coached guys that went through Benton High School.
Yeah, Jay Schaefer was there, Matt Wynn was there. It was
Randy House?
Randy House had just finished.
Okay.
I actually played against Randy. My senior year at Edwardsville, Randy was on the team at SIU, so we played down at the arena against them. So, but Matt was there, and Jay Schaefer was there. Rick Shipley from Centralia was there. Had some really good teams. Ashraf Amaya, Chris Lowry,
Sterling Mahan.
Yeah, Sterling. There's a lot of really good players in those teams.
Just looking back, and you got to go be with those Benton guys at SIU, and being a part of that tradition of being like, yeah, Coach Herrin's here, was obviously came to Benton and then built Benton up, and then you had Coach Wynn there and Schaefer. What's that mean to you that Benton was continuing after high school?
Yeah, I think that was just a mark of the program that Coach Herrin had built over his tenure at Benton. You can go back, and we've had these conversations with guys that I went to high school with. And, it was just common for guys from Benton basketball to go on and play college. Pretty much every year he had guys going on from Rich Younkus and Billy Smith at Georgia Tech, and had a couple guys play at Alabama. A lot of these, major college players, but there was just, it was like year after year after year, there were people from Benton going to play college, and the fact that he was able to get some of those guys there with Randy and Kai Nurnberger and Jay Schaefer and Matt Wynn all played down there during that time period. So I think it was, and after he left, you still had his brother Ron and then Coach Rod Schertz came in. So that continued for many years, and I think Benton just had kind of a legacy there of good players coming through, and they were being coached well, and they were good enough to go on and play at the next level.
You leave Southern and then take the job at Rend Lake. How does that all kind of go down?
It was unusual, actually. Mitch Haskins was the coach at Rend Lake, who I'd played for there, and I was actually talking to him about coming and being his assistant. And he was telling me, I'm not going to be doing this much longer, so you could come and be the assistant and maybe take over. So that was kind of my plan. And then as things went, he ended up leaving, getting let go in the middle of the year. I can't remember exactly what happened. So actually the head coaching job opened up, and I didn't even apply for it right away. I felt kind of bad about his situation. I didn't want it to look like I was tampering, jumping in, like I stabbed him in the back. Right. another friend of mine called and asked me if I was going to apply for it, and I said, well, I don't know. And they said, well, I talked to the AD and they would like for you to. So I did, and ended up getting the job, and was very fortunate to have that. And it's been a great place for me to work. I stayed there a long time.
Yeah.
It's obviously close to home, but you get now this year you have a lot of area guys, and then you have Isaac from Benton. What do you like about having all those area guys on the team, being close to home and everything?
Well, I think in a perfect world, at a junior college, all of your players would be local players.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we don't live in a perfect world, so you also want to compete and you want to win games as a competitor. So we've always, the whole time I've been there, we've tried to recruit locally as much as possible. This year, particularly the last 2 years, actually, we've been very fortunate that there's been good players in Southern Illinois. Don't get me wrong, we're not just recruiting local kids to have local kids.
Yeah.
They have to be good enough to play and help us compete. And we've just run into a time period here over the last 2 seasons that there have been really good players. We had signed Isaac last year, and then he got his opportunity to go to SIU as a walk-on, and that I was all for that. I didn't have any problem with that. But when he decided he was leaving there and wanted to look for other opportunities, we felt very fortunate to get him again. So we got him. We've got Owen Treat that was with us last year from Vienna. We got the 2 Pinckneyville kids, Riley Bowersax and AJ Keith. And then we've got Race Hickey from Marion, got Aiden Hinton from Carterville, Navante Nesbitt and E. Quentin Millsap from Mount Vernon. So Aiden Anderson from Oakville. So it's been a really good thing. So it's great to have those kids. I think not that the other kids don't care, but I think there's a little different amount of how much they care about the program when they're local, because their parents come, their grandparents come, their friends from high school come, people who watch them in high school show up to watch them. So it's almost like they're still playing high school basketball, and there's that pride involved in it. And it does help our crowds. We've had really, really good crowds this year.
I'm going to say this. You weren't here yet, but I said this to Nick Hill when he was here earlier. Russ owns Ballin' for God. We're not owned by, a big conglomerate, some big media company yet. So I have a little freedom to, not that he wants me to go off the path, but I can ask things sometimes that I'm not worried about someone saying, hey, here's an email. You're going to run some sponsors off with that. Our sponsors are Dr. Young's family, Rend Lake Cabins in the Woods. They love us being here. And my dad, my dad's been stuck with me for 47 years. He hasn't got rid of me yet. So we're okay with our sponsors. Here's what I want to say. It's not always easy coaching local talent.
No, it's not, because if they don't play, then if they were a great high school player and they come to the local community college and they're not getting to play, then the coach is automatically an idiot.
You're a bad guy.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing, which I may or may not, but that's going to be more of a thing if it's a local kid.
Sure. If it's a kid from Dubuque, Iowa, no one's jumping down.
No, they don't.
They're not coming after Tim Wills.
If the local people don't know him, don't care. They might like him if he's a good player, but it is. It's difficult, but you try not to get in that situation where you get local kids who aren't good enough to play,
Sure.
And it'll happen. But then that's part of being a head coach. You have to deal with that.
Yeah. I mean, you're blessed right now. I mean, I know Russ was at the game. I've only got, with having a son playing right now, I only got to go to one of your games so far. And I was at maybe one of your best games of the season against John A., a game you guys won at home.
Yeah, that was a great game. Great atmosphere.
Atmosphere was unbelievable. Packed house. John A. brought a lot of people. Obviously, Rend Lake had a ton of people there. But I remember I texted a buddy of mine, and I said, at one point, you've got, and this never happens, but you had Mount Vernon passing to Vienna, passing to Pinckneyville, passing to Benton. You know what I mean? It was pretty awesome. And then on the bench was Carterville, Marion, Oakville. I mean, that's a pretty cool thing when it works out that you've got some good local talent. Because there's been years, I'm sure it's been tough to have local kids.
It really is, and there will be more years of that where, and it's not necessarily that there's no talent. but we don't get every talented kid.
Sure.
You know, Southern Illinois is like every place else. There's greener pastures somewhere. You know, we've recruited kids, not just me, but other programs, other coaches. When I wasn't coaching basketball at Rend Lake, recruited local kids that decided they'd rather go to John A. Logan, or they'd rather go to Kaskaskia,
Sure.
or they'd rather go to Three Rivers, or whatever the case is. You know, a guy told me many, many years ago when I was a young coach, he said, you always have to remember that 90% of recruiting is a waste of time. So most of the games you go watch, most of the kids you talk to, you're not going to sign them. So you have to do your work. And we've been really fortunate that, especially these last 2 years, we've got some local kids who are good enough and also want to stay close to home. And
Is that the selling point? Is that the selling point to get a kid to Rend Lake
I think
that's
it's
local?
part of it. And I think we're trying to, we're trying to sell this is an overused term in sports right now, but our culture of, you know, I feel like we're guys that people like to play for a little bit. We want to let them play the game, and we're recruiting kids who will follow rules, what I would call low maintenance guys, that you don't have to wonder where they are and what they're doing all the time.
Sure.
You know that as
Like
a
Russ,
parent. I mean, as a parent, you know,
Yeah, for sure.
Doug Collins told me one time, I don't have to know what my kid's doing. I just need to know who they're with.
Bingo.
And if I know who they're with, I have an idea. I pretty well know what they're doing.
Sure.
So, you know, we try to put good kids together that we have an idea they're going to be kids. But
Sure.
They're,
They're 18, 19, 20-year-old kids.
They're going to do mostly the right things, and you're not going to have to worry about them doing something really off the wall crazy. And then, you know, they get to know a lot of these kids know each other now,
Sure.
which didn't used to happen. All the AAU and travel ball and all that stuff, they've played with each other or played against each other, or maybe just subbed on a team here and there.
Sure.
So they already know each other a lot.
Talk about the ever-changing of the game, because I mean, obviously you said you coached for 18 years and you took a little hiatus, and then now you're back. What was it like coming from the beginning of your career to now?
Well, I mean, as far as what do you want?
With
specifically?
the style of play, and like,
Okay,
obviously there's more 3-pointers.
Is Europe taken over?
To
the game?
some degree, but you know what?
You know, I mean, as far as the threes and
Coach Herrin used to say there's no secrets in basketball. I remember when I was in high school playing for him, we ran a play he called JG,
I know the play.
and it was a wing ball screen. And then, you know, after that was a very unusual play in the 80s when I was playing, because that was the Bobby Knight era of pass and motion offense, the true motion where you set tons of screens away from the ball and you pop up to shoot. So the ball screen had disappeared for the most part, and now the ball screen is back with a vengeance at every level. So I think that's it's not new. It's just the same stuff coming back now, and you'll probably see it change again.
Will the big man ever return? Will the big man ever return?
That's a good question. Not if they keep being able to shoot the ball like the big guys do now. But I think the biggest change that I've noticed is the analytics part of it. Gosh, there's the statistics, the video. There were VHS tapes when I coached before.
Doc, do you know what a VHS is? He's asleep over here.
know. But
He said, what?
it's now everything's on video, and you can watch it and you can break it down and you can bring kids in to show them what mistakes they're making. And we're not as big into it. I know Alabama they pay a firm to do the analytics for their basketball program, and they want to know exactly how many 3-pointers they shoot, what percentage of their shots are from 3, what percentage of their shots are layups, and that's different. But so that's important, I think, to know a little about that. But I told my son a few years back, I said, I'm glad analytics didn't exist when I was a player. And he said, why? And I said, because I wouldn't have met any of the measurements. I would have never been a college basketball player in the 2000s because I wasn't tall enough, I wasn't fast enough, I wasn't athletic enough. And I would have been a forgotten guy probably. And a lot of those guys from Benton who went on and played and were successful in college probably would have been left at Benton High School because they didn't. Not everybody was Billy Smith, who was a great athlete. Not everybody was Rich Younkus, who was 6'9". There were a lot of those other guys that, were kind of tweeners or odd sizes and not super athletic, but they knew how to play.
IQ.
Exactly.
Analytics can't. I've seen this. I read it all the time. Analytics can't measure a guy's basketball IQ.
No, or their toughness.
Sure.
And I'm not talking about beating somebody up physical, but it is physical toughness. Can you get knocked down and
Get back
up? And can you take coaching and can you take failure and keep coming back and it doesn't show how competitive somebody is.
Can you take long bus rides to Danville and get to eat a ham sandwich on the way home?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't have 15,000 people watching you.
No, and that's different because a lot of these kids did come from high school program, the Pinckneyville guys.
Sure.
They played in front of full houses.
Yeah.
They're not seeing that now, so you've got to find other ways to get yourselves motivated and ready to play. You can't play off of emotion all the time. It's got to be more of a we just come here to go to work and we do what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a different environment, but just from what I've seen, I like having those area guys because whenever I went to the game, it was really jazzed up, going to watch John A. Logan at Rend Lake, and I don't know, I like that aspect of basketball that just has that emotion. Obviously, you can't do it every time, but the emotional games are fun to watch for sure. And just looking back on high school, obviously I've heard a lot of stories, but what was it like getting to play in Rich Herrin Gym, playing for Rich Herrin and all those guys there?
Well, I mean, from the time literally we were little kids, we dreamed of being a Benton Ranger and putting that uniform with the stars on it and playing in front of that crowd in that gym. Because I graduated in '82. That gym was 7 years old when it opened in '75, so it was still brand new, and it was the palace of Southern Illinois. I mean, there was nothing to compare it to. So
I want my ashes spread on it one day.
we literally, that was our dream to, and I grew up in an era, Robbie Williams and I were really good friends, and we played together throughout. And
All-stater, Robbie Williams.
And his mom and Doug Collins are brother and sister, so, we had,
Bet you didn't know that.
we had that guy playing in the Olympics and in the NBA, so, I grew up in an era where we thought we could be professional basketball players because we had a guy that had done it from our high school, and I knew him, and I grew up around him, and so we haven't had that in a long time. I think the kids today, perhaps some of them know who Doug Collins was because they've seen his jersey, but they don't really know. We knew him, and we aspired to be him, and we all thought we could be. We couldn't, but, and I think Robbie and I were talking a few years back, and he said somebody asked him why we were as good as we were as a team, and he said, I think we thought we were better than we were, and we just believed that we could be good. So
there was a culture there. You said culture earlier.
Yeah,
there was a culture.
I mean, Coach Herrin never, I bet if you could ask him, and I wish I would have asked him this, I'll bet he never coached a game that he didn't think he was going to win.
Oh, no doubt with his
He
personality.
always thought he was going to win. It didn't make any difference how big, how tall, how athletic the other team was. He thought his team was going to win, and that all kind of soaked into the players, and we thought we were going to win. And when we didn't, we were like, must have been the referees, something happened because we should have won.
Coach, I remember my dad taking me. So my dad's class of 76. I'm born in 78. I'll never forget, my dad takes me everywhere I remember the first, when Darren Carlisle and those guys were at state, that's my first remembering everything of us being at the state tournament against Evanston. But these guys will never, Doc Young and Russ will never understand this. Ronnie Weinmiller's like my brother. I mean, I could call him right now. He'd be like, Seb, what do you want? Hey, I want you to come on the show. Are you serious right now? I mean, and Ronnie knows this, where I'm going with this, because obviously him growing up in McLeansboro, his uncles are tremendous coaches, Dick and Robert Korn. Jerry was his uncle, tremendous player. His dad, Louis, was a great coach. Ron's been around it too. So here's where I'm going with this. Last year, my son's a senior, and Ron takes us. It's a big deal. We go to that shootout. You were there.
Yeah. Riverton
shootout. That was a big deal for Benton to play at the Riverton Shootout. When I'm a little kid, Rich Herrin's taken the team to play at the Keel Center, and we're playing DeMatha. Do you know who DeMatha had on their team? Sam Cassell. I mean, Benton, Illinois is playing Sam Cassell, and
My brother guarded him.
And Rich Herrin, in his mind, Rich Herrin, R.I.P., he's the GOAT, 4-3-5-5-5-5. I mean, he's literally he's beaten. He's winning that game. Rich, I guarantee he thought he had more talent.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and I mean, Centralia Holiday Tournament. I mean, I went down there I went to Centralia when my brother was playing, and
Brad Wills, your brother.
yeah, he's guarding Timmy Hardaway. I mean,
come on.
Goodness.
it was unbelievable.
Not Tim Hardaway Jr., Tim Hardaway Sr.
Tim Hardaway.
Yeah, the.
You know, and Russell, Wade Jenkins was on that team. He
Oh,
played
yeah.
at Tulsa.
Right.
Nobody remembers him. And in that same tournament was Rodell Davis, who played at Iowa.
Right.
And just,
Big time Division I basketball
yeah,
players.
it's unbelievable. Russell Cross was there, and you talked about Evanston with Everett Stevens, who played at Purdue. And I mean, that was an era of the Centralia. Everybody has their holiday tournament now. In those days, you had the Proviso West, and you had the Dapper Dan, and then you had Centralia. That was it.
Yeah.
And those teams from Chicago were coming down, and they were loaded. Homewood Flossmoor, Parker Laquetta played at Notre Dame.
Did you win when you started? How many years at Benton?
I started 2 years.
Did you win the Centralia Holiday Tournament? You were 2 years there.
Nope.
Do you remember what round you got knocked out in?
Senior year, we got beat in the second round. So in those days, you didn't get to play 4 games. If you lost,
I mean, he was on great teams at Benton, and they got knocked out at.
Yeah, we got beat by Chicago Heights Hershey, who had a guy played at Northwestern. They had one played at Texas A&M, and they had one played at Davidson.
Yeah,
they were loaded.
It's a different world, man.
And we didn't have 3 Division I players on our team, and they were a center and a forward, and a guard. So they had it pretty well covered.
Rich backed down from no one.
No, and I think he's still maybe. Now Centralia won it last year, but I think he may be still the only. He won 6 of them. I don't know if anybody else has ever won 6.
Russ and I said this. It was one of our trivia questions on one of our first shows together. This is our 6th show together as the Power Tandem. But the stat that stands out to me, and you know where I'm going with this, is the South 7 titles Rich Herrin won. That'll never be touched. 11, right?
Yes, 11.
That'll never. When I look at those basketballs, when I take my boys to our gym, and I look at those, I say,
Yeah.
that's more than a state title to me. I mean, maybe easy for me to say, being from Benton, but I mean, that's unbelievable. That conference was.
We were one of the smallest schools in the South 7. Because, you're talking Marion and Centralia, Carbondale, Mount Vernon, Harrisburg,
Herrin, yeah. That town 6 miles down the road.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I mean, and we expected to win the conference because he expected you to win the conference.
Yes.
And it wasn't we're going to try to compete in the conference.
And we're not going to try.
We want to win it. And, my junior year was I think only one of 2 years in his career here that he had a losing record. We were like 14 and 15.
What made him different? I'm going to ask you. Your dad was good friends with him. Your dad coached with him. You and your brother played for him. What made Rich Herrin different? You've been around basketball, college basketball. You've had guys playing the pros. I mean, you've seen it all.
He was one of the most competitive people I've ever been around. Always played to win. I mean, if you went out after practice and he joined in a game of 2-on-2 with you, and he wasn't a great player in those days. He was older, but he would pull your hair. He'd grab your uniform. He would pinch you. He would, whatever it took to win. And that got instilled into his players. Now, don't get me wrong, we didn't play dirty. He wouldn't go for that stuff.
Sure.
In fact, I remember we went to watch a game one time, and one of the teams was getting ready to take the ball out of bounds. And right before the referee handed the guy, or actually after he handed him the ball, the guy goes, "Oh, wait, you're supposed to take the ball in bounds." Which is not going to happen, but the defense kind of relaxed, and they handed it to him, and he shot a layup. And Coach Herrin said, we're not going to do stuff like that.
Sure. That's chicken something, probably.
Yeah, he would do anything to win within the rules. Mm-hmm. And I also think he was an innovator and a forward thinker. The BIT, he was the guy who started those 6 games and 7-day tournaments. And playing Friday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday night, and then coming back and playing Saturday afternoon and Saturday night. And his whole idea was, when I get to the state tournament, I've got to play 2 games in a day.
Right.
So my guys have to learn how to play 2 games in a day.
Sure.
And they gave you a tournament to play in. They didn't tell you how many games you could play in it. So he's like, we might as well play all week. He was always thinking ahead. But I think his competitive nature was just something he instilled on everybody.
What do you try to do from what you've learned from him coaching yourself?
We talk a lot about competing with our guys. Everybody talks about playing hard, and that's important, but there's a difference in playing hard and really competing. You can go out and play hard in a friendly game, but to me, being competitive is, I'm going to do whatever I have to do to get that ball, to get that rebound, to win this game. And you're not going to win them all. You're not going to get every loose ball, but if you have that mindset, you'll get more than you would have otherwise. So you can run hard, but are you running hard with a purpose to beat that other guy, to beat that other team? So I think I learned that. And that my dad was that way too. He was ultra competitive.
Sure.
And you just, probably to a fault, we are. My wife doesn't like to play games with me, board games and stuff, because if I lose, I might accuse her of cheating.
I throw the board.
Yeah, I've been known to do stuff like that. Love it. When my son was young, we'd go out and play, and he'd end up crying, and she'd be like, can't you just let him win once? And I was like, I tried. And I just at the last minute, I just couldn't do it. So
that drive's kicked in.
But I think that helped. Both my kids were really tough-minded and competitive kids, and they weren't super gifted athletes, but they were able to play in their various sports. And I mean, my son's best sport was probably cross country, which is the hardest thing in the world.
Oh, I ran it. I know.
That's
grueling.
Yeah, it's
grueling.
Anybody who does that deserves praise from anybody.
Hard.
It's hard.
Where's Mason at now?
He is at Neoga, teaching history. He's their only social sciences teacher in the whole high school. So he teaches about 6 subjects. He's their freshman, sophomore basketball coach and assistant on the varsity. So he's fighting the coaching battle as well.
Will one day he be with father? Will he maybe get to coach your dad ever?
You know what? No, I don't. Well, I don't think I'll stick around that long. But if he ever becomes a head coach and would ask me to help, I might volunteer to help him a little bit if he wants. But I'm not going to step in there.
Sure, that's awesome. Russ, go ahead now. I know there's some stuff the Ballin' for God podcast. Maybe if you want to jump into some of that.
I'll talk about switching gears. Can we just talk a little bit about your family? Obviously, we talked about Mason, but kind of tell everybody about your family, who your wife is, your kids, and everything.
My wife is Kelly Wills, and she and I met when we were in college, and she's from over in the Metro East area, Wood River. She teaches math at the Benton Middle School, has been there for 22, 23 years.
Did you have her?
Yeah, I had her twice.
Twice. My sons both had her.
So did you end up with her in 5th grade too?
Yeah, 5th grade and 8th grade.
She graduated with you then, huh?
Yeah.
To 8th grade. So she's going to retire. I think she's got 2 years after this year to retire. My daughter Jordan is a graduate of Benton High School, and she played softball and volleyball for 4 years, and then both my kids went to Rend Lake and graduated, and they both ended up going to SIU, where I graduated from. It's funny, my wife's from 5 minutes away from their campus, and she's the only one of us that didn't graduate from Edwardsville, because she was silly enough to marry me, and I moved her down here, and she graduated from SIU Carbondale. And then my daughter went to medical school at SIU, and she's a family physician in St. Charles, Missouri now.
Awesome. No, I know you well enough to ask some of this. I know faith's been a big part of your family, and this is the Ballin' for God podcast, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot to give you a 30-minute testimony, but Nick Hill on before earlier, my dad said he had him speak at fundraiser or something a while back. My dad said, Travis, he needs to be an evangelist or something. I mean, honestly, it was unreal. But kind of talk about how faith has shaped your life growing up, being a coach, being a father, being around it. Your dad was a pastor.
Yeah. I had every advantage that anybody could have as far as my dad was he was never a full-time pastor. He was what he always called himself, a bivocational pastor. He always had a real job. He taught school for a while. He was in the real estate business. Then he became a real estate appraiser. So he had a job that paid the bills, and then he would kind of preach on the side. He pastored several different churches, but ultimately spent 20 plus years pastoring the church that I still go to, which is Grace Bible Church out in West City now.
Right behind Walmart, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's a little further out. It's right there across the street from the Farm Bureau building.
Yeah. I know where you're at.
Next to Odom Concrete.
Yes, I know where you're at.
So, I grew up in a house that we went to church. My dad preached. My dad's brother, there's just the two boys in the family. His brother was a pastor in Tennessee and up in the Chicago area. My grandparents were Christians, so family gatherings sometimes were discussions about scripture and doctrine and things of that sort, and some of those actually got a little heated at times. So, I grew up, I would say, I had an advantage over most kids.
Sure.
The problem is I didn't take advantage of that opportunity. I went to church, I heard it, I listened to it my whole life. But like a lot of people, I probably thought I was a Christian.
Sure.
I was a good guy.
Yeah.
I didn't break laws, and I made good grades, and I went to class, and I was a good kid in school, and that made me a Christian. And I don't want to go too deep into this, but when I finished at Rend Lake, I took a scholarship to go to a school down in Henderson, Tennessee, Freed-Hardeman College, which is a Christian school. I had no problem with that. That was fine. A friend of mine and I went down there together. But it was I grew up Baptist, and it was Church of Christ, which was different, and they had different things that nothing drastic really, but it was drastic to me at that age.
Sure.
I'd been to college for 2 years, and now they're telling me what kind of clothes I'm supposed to wear and how I've got to have my hair cut. And this probably wouldn't work really well. It's just a little scruff. I know you would not fit in well there.
He's got a lot
no
there.
facial hair. But I lasted,
when I'm thin, I can take it off. When I'm heavier, I have to have it.
But I lasted 2 weeks, and my friend and I came home. And my dad was not pleased at all. Because it's he never did say this, but I didn't raise a quitter.
Sure.
And here I was for the first time in my life, I'd quit. So it was too late to go to college somewhere. So here's a whole year of my life now, where I'm not in college. I always wanted to be a college graduate. I always wanted to be a college basketball player. So I'm not in school, and I don't have basketball. And my dad's mad at me, and I'm mad at him. And we literally didn't have a civil word to say to each other that whole year. We spoke when we had to. And it was miserable. And I didn't see any hope of ever playing college basketball again. So I knew I was going to go back to school. But during that time, I kind of hit rock bottom. And I didn't have this big explosive experience where I ran down the aisle and spoke and fire.
Sure.
I can't even tell you where I was, but I do remember I just finally said, Lord, I give up. I can't do this. I can't stand the way my life has become. And it was instantly like the weight of the world was off of me. So, and my dad wasn't even preaching at that time. We had a pastor at that time, E.A. Summers was his name, and he baptized me, and I got baptized at a church that doesn't even exist anymore. I don't know if you remember Reverend Knight's church.
Oh yeah.
Down on Grand.
I do.
They tore that down.
Sure.
But they had our church. We were meeting in an old TV repair shop.
Love it.
At the time.
Love it.
So we didn't even have a place to get baptized.
Sure.
So that's kind of And I'm not going to say that I all of a sudden became this
Billy Graham.
thumping guy. You know, I did get a chance to go play college basketball again. How that happened is that's how I know God's been in my life forever, and I can look back now as an old guy and realize I've been like a chess piece on a board with him. So I was out of school a year. Decided to go to SIU for one reason. The girl that I'd been dating all through school was over there. So I go over there I'm just going to go to school. I was hoping I might get a chance to play. I move in on a Saturday maybe, and I find out that she's been dating another guy for like a year and a half.
Oh boy, thanks.
So the reason I went there has caved. So here I am living with 3 guys I don't know. I won't go into details, but the guy I actually was sharing a room with, he and I did not get along at all. Our lifestyles were totally different. Couldn't play basketball that year because I was considered a transfer, and in those days they didn't let you do like you do now, where you can play at 4 schools in 4 years. You had to sit a year.
Yeah.
Can we bring that back?
Yeah, that would be nice. So I ended up going over to the gym, and I met the coaches, and nothing really came of it. And they did ask me then to go play with their JV team one night. I hadn't played basketball in a year. And I went, and I thought I was going to die. I was in such bad shape, but I tried my best. And, I wasn't very good. But then after that season, that Coach Larry Graham was the guy I played for. And that's another thing. I've been very fortunate. I played for Rich Herrin. I played for Mitch Haskins. I played for Larry Graham. If you could go look them up,
Yes.
They all were winners. They all did it differently. But I got a chance then to play that next year. So here I am 2 years at Rend Lake, out of school a year, sitting a year, going to college, then getting to play 2 years. So it was 6 years after high school. The next year I stayed there as a graduate assistant, and I met this little gal that was down at the place where we turned in our practice gear to get it washed, and we had to get the TV to watch video on and all that. And she's now my wife. And she's 6 years younger than me. So there was no way we were ever going to meet. I was at Freed. If I stayed
Sure.
at Freed. So what I'm getting at is the worst part of my life
Turned out to be the best part of my life. I just didn't know at the time. But the Lord brought me to a spot where he bottomed me out. And my dad, many years ago, sat there and he said, you'd have never met her, and you'd have never had these kids had you not gone through all that. And I realize it. We both did. So it's just amazing how you can now, as an older person, look back and see all of these things that happened that seemed awful at the time. There was a purpose behind it. And it tells you that all things are going to work together for good for those who are called according to his purpose. So you don't know what he's doing with you as a child, but I was blessed to be raised in a Christian home, and I kind of regret I didn't take advantage of it, because maybe things would have been a little easier had I not pushed back so much. But I thought I knew everything, and I was always taught the right things. Sure.
As far as what I believe the Bible teaches. We always had preachers that preached the truth. So, but I just didn't take advantage of all the advantages that I had.
It's obviously, I'd say it's inspiring to hear stuff like that. Just people that obviously they say they don't follow it fully like they want to all throughout their life, and then they have a moment like that. I think it's inspiring to hear something like that. And I think, especially as a younger guy, to know that God will always be there with you and have a purpose for you no matter what. I think that that just touches my heart, and it just lets me know that no matter what I do in life, God will still be there for me.
He loves you. Mercy and grace, man.
Yeah, and again, I think, gosh, we all go through these times where you think, why? But the older I've gotten, there's a reason. I don't know what it is now, and I may never know. But I think at some point when you get to heaven, you'll probably realize why some of the things happen that you didn't know. You know, I mean, nobody can really truly explain why do children die.
Sure.
You know, I don't know that. But I think Christians believe that God is in control, and it's part of His plan, whatever that is, that we don't understand. So.
No, it's good. Now, I don't know if it's considered tampering or anything, but Gage Peterson just walked in that back door back there. Is he on Rend Lake's? Is he on the?
Yeah, we talked.
Is he on the big board?
We talked to Gage a little bit. He's actually taking classes on our campus a few days a week, so we could see him over at the cafe every now and then. So, yeah, I think they got a big game coming up maybe this weekend.
Yeah.
Friday night.
Are you gonna be there?
Darren is.
Darren Kennard?
Yep.
Where are they sending you Friday?
I will be at SV versus Christopher.
Oh, is that the battle of? I always get confused with the highways. Is that the battle of 154, 148? I don't know, one of the highways.
Yep, it'll be the first time we get coverage on both teams.
First time what?
It'll be the first time this year that we cover both teams, so it'll be a big game.
That'll be a big game, but if I were you, I'd rather be at the other one.
I'd like to be there, but Darren's going to be up there, and
Darren Kennard's a little higher than you? Is that what you're saying?
I'm sure that
he's pulling rank on
he is.
I'm sure they'll meet again. So he said as long as they meet again, I'll get to go that one.
No, they'll play at least probably 2 more times.
Yeah.
Hey, I get to be at the Benton AJ game.
Hey, there you go.
Hey, it'll be a good one. Well, Coach, we appreciate you coming out. I mean,
appreciate you guys having me.
A lot of fun. I know I've been probably driving him nuts texting the last month or so. He's a busy man.
I apologize. I canceled on you that last time.
Well, you can't help it. I mean, you're coaching college basketball.
I can't keep my calendar
I will say I appreciate it that you are trying to get on here because it's tough, especially during it's your season. It's basketball season. You're busy, and I appreciate you trying to make time to get on here. It really means a lot to us.
Well, I appreciate you guys staying with me, and I've known Travis a long time since he was a kid. But my wife speaks really highly of you, so I wanted to do that because she thinks a lot of you.
Well, I appreciate that to Kelly as well. Just thank you for coming on because it's obviously it's my favorite time of year, winter. So I really like basketball a lot. So getting the basketball coaches on here is fun, especially.
Yes, sir.
Well, I appreciate you guys, and come and see us anytime you want to.
All right, now we're on to our final guest of the show. It's been a little bit of a shorter but longer. I don't know. We go from long to short, whatever, each week. But
we podcast. Sometimes we go 17 hours. Sometimes we go 3 hours.
And today's final guest is Gage Peterson, Waltonville Spartan, and he's got a big game this weekend. But Gage, just tell everybody who you are and just a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm obviously Gage Peterson. I go to Waltonville High School, and I play for the Waltonville Spartans, of course. And we are off to a very great start, in my opinion. We've already beat 3A Carbondale and 2A Carterville just now. Just past few weekends, and I believe that we just moving that momentum forward. I believe that's going to be big for us, especially going into a big game this weekend. But me individually, luckily it's my senior year, so Waltonville allows us to take dual enrollment classes at Rend Lake. So I get to go to school. I take a few classes at Waltonville, and in the afternoon I go to Rend Lake, take a dual enrollment, and then my day's done about 1:50. So now, with Rend Lake already being on Christmas break, I'm done now, so I'm on Christmas break. And then I'm also in the Jefferson County CEO program. I'm with Vernon Klinger, another guy that goes to Waltonville. Kyle Cooper's also in there from Woodlawn. It's just all schools from Jefferson County. It's a neat thing to be a part of and, kind of getting that business motive kind of thing. But, it's
awesome. All right, Gage, let's just get down to it. Everybody knows Friday is a big game. I'm not going to, make you get into all the dirty details and stuff, but I mean, there's obviously some bragging things that are going to happen between this game. I mean, you've played a lot of basketball with Cooper. I know once the ball's thrown up, all the cliches go away. It's just basketball, but does that play into your emotions at all? I mean, playing against one of your best friends that was your teammate for years?
Yeah. Kyle's a great guy, and obviously, when that ball goes up, a lot of that goes away, and it's really just the guys that I've got, on my team. Going into that game, all that extra noise, coaches reiterated it in every aspect possible. Like, got to ignore that noise and just play our game, play the way we've been playing, especially with how well we've been playing together right now. Everything's just clicking, and especially on the defensive end. I feel like if we just move into this game like it's another game, obviously that environment's going to be absolutely insane, and that's what's going to make it. That's what makes it fun. But I feel like if we just play, how we have been for each other, both offensively and defensively, it's going to be fun. But just playing, all of us know those guys from Woodlawn, so it's going to be, just playing against your buddies, and that's what makes it fun.
It's obviously a rivalry matchup, and if you want to share your favorite part of the rivalry, you can, but I really enjoy rivalries. We obviously have Benton Peteyville for us and Benton West Frankfort, and I should say team down the road.
Team down the road.
But it's rivalries are huge. What's your kind of favorite part of that rivalry? It's been going on for a long time.
Yeah, I remember when I was younger and I would come to Waltonville high school basketball games and watch. I remember watching Blake McKay play. A lot of guys like that. Rivalries is kind of what makes high school sports fun, especially with a game like this going to this weekend and everybody's like, we're selling tickets for a regular season game.
That's unreal.
You don't see that very often. And a lot of people are asking me to move to a neutral site, and me personally, like if I were in charge, I would say the same thing as Woodlawn. I'm not giving up, home court advantage.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah. But rivalries are, like I said, is what make high school sports fun. Like you mentioned, Benton, Peteyville, and stuff like that. The past few years we've been going at it with Meridian. Unfortunately, we never got the high end of that. But just stuff like Meridian, Goreville, and obviously Woodlawn. That's been going on for, many years. But rivalries are it's really what makes it fun. So just going in this weekend especially is going to be a lot of fun.
Let me ask you this. Gage, you're on a great team. Coach Lowry's got you guys going in the right direction. If people don't know, you knocked off Carbondale, you knocked off Carterville, but let's talk about your Weber. Let's talk about your conference. Speaking of Weber, the conference is loaded this year.
Absolutely. Obviously the W's, us, Weber, and Woodlawn. As of we talked about this not too long ago. As of right now, Weber has been one of our more closer games, as we've played. Obviously, we played Woodlawn this weekend, but we were saying, that's just, a testament to what Helm and he has his guys doing over there. They're still, if anything, still kind of young. I believe they have only 2 seniors starting, if I'm correct. They got, I think, Little Marlowe's a sophomore.
Yeah.
The other night, my buddy's stepson plays for Crab, and he said that the other night it was 38 and 36 between the brothers.
Yeah.
The Marlowe brothers.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And obviously Nate is in his
He's a machine.
One of the best guys in Southern Illinois, if not the whole state of Illinois. I played with that guy for the past 2 summers on SI Select, and I've gotten close with him, and he's just, an overall great guy. And then Woodlawn, everybody knows what they've got. And like I said, we're buddies with them. McKay, Frick, like I said just before we got back on here, they're 6'4" across the board.
Big guys.
How
will they try to defend you? Seriously, will they gonna try to bang you, double you? What do you think they'll try to do to you?
Well, what we've seen a lot of this year is kind of they got one of their bigger guys on me, and then they kind of got a guy sagging off one of our other dudes. So when I catch it, then they send that double and then stuff like that, and that's kind of what we expect, coming in from them. They're gonna. Obviously, I'm sure they're going to be physical, especially Kylan. That's kind of I believe that one of his strong suits of his game is his defensive side of the ball. And then just their length. I'm sure it's going to be, but like I said, with officiating, physicality could be different with that. So time will tell. It's just with their length, we have reiterated that we're going to have to, be strong with the ball, because on Woodlawn's court especially, with their length like that, that's just gonna. It'll definitely play a factor that we'll have to consider while we're playing.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, just looking back, I mean, whenever Kyle was at Waltonville, and he was obviously not one of the taller guys because you got you and Jagger, but he wasn't. He's probably about a little over average height. Was he third tallest on the team?
Yeah.
But now at Woodlawn, he's the shortest guy in the starting lineup, and he's one of the shorter guys overall on the team. That's obviously going to play a big factor in the game. But kind of shifting gears to look back into this past spring and the spring before, what was it like to get to play with SI Select, of getting to play with Nate, but also getting to play with a bunch of different guys like Jude Harmon and Nick King and all those guys?
Well,
He's got some bounce.
Yeah. Old Nicky. Well, this year was actually the first year I was able to play against like my actual age, because I was in the position Nick and Jude were in. They're playing a year up, and that's what I had done the past 2 years. But this year, I was actually able to play against people my own age. And playing with SI Select, typically, I remember the first day I walked in at SI Select that we are not the Swinford brothers from SIC. Like, this is not your typical AAU program, because AAU has kind of have that reputation of, it's kind of
Renegade.
not organized, not structured. You don't know if you're going to have the same guys every
Sure.
weekend and stuff like that. And they said that that is the complete opposite here. Practices, we had them at the college, and Sam and Riley put us through what they put through the college guys, which obviously, I mean, that's something that you would obviously like as a basketball player, just to and get that, college motives, and even from college coaches and players that we play with the players. But I think the farthest we probably went was Orlando and played at the Disney World complex, which was obviously very neat. I was very fortunate enough to play the past 2 summers there, but just playing all that different kinds of competition from Orlando and Georgia, and I think we went to Kentucky and Tennessee, and then also just getting, like you said, playing with Nate, Nicky, Jude, playing with those guys, like you don't typically get to do that. And then we even had guys from Tennessee and Kentucky that were really just, cool, good dudes and fun guys to play basketball with. So having that experience, playing with SI Select, I really believe that has made me and shaped me to be the player I am, if not better today.
Let me ask you this. You've got a big time schedule in front of you. I know guys play AAU for a reason, and obviously Tim Wills was the guest right on before you. 2 guests before you was Nick Hill, who's played Division I basketball at Western Kentucky before he went to Southern for football. I mean, he started at WKU. I don't know if you knew that, but Coach Hill, who's the head football coach, who was from DuQuoin, or is from DuQuoin, started at Western Kentucky. So we've had college basketball players in here, coaches. What's the goal for you next year? I mean, you want to keep playing?
Yes, I would like to pursue college, and try to take basketball and the gifts I've been given to as far as I can take, as it'll take me. Yeah, that's.
Hey, we're watching the NBA right now, man.
That's obviously the goal, but I mean, it's just ride that wave and put the work and grind. And I remember I was talking to a coach one time. I'm like, now being a high school kid and having to balance school. Obviously, you got to balance school, but having to balance school and other extracurricular activities. But when basketball season's over, then we go to. I mean, I went from golf to basketball to baseball, and I've done that all 4 years of my life. But when you get to college and you commit to a sport, you get to commit all your time to that one sport. And I believe when I get to the college level, just put my head down and see how far it takes me. And it obviously getting my education paid for, that would obviously be a plus as well.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Russ?
It's awesome to have guys like that in our area to be able to go play at the next level. Obviously, back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, we've touched on it a lot. It was unusual for Benton to not have three guys maybe go play at the next level.
Yeah.
And but just now, let's switch it back to high school. What's it mean to kind of be on that high school team to where you guys might have guys that want to go play college, but what's it like to be on a high school team? Everybody cares about each other. Obviously, Waltonville is a great community where you got the fans behind you no matter what. And you guys could win 2 games, and I think they'd be there still. And what's that community like in Waltonville?
I was actually thinking about this because I was kind of just watching your guys' podcast just to see what kind of questions you ask, and I would hope that you guys were to ask me a question like that because, in my personal opinion, Waltonville, I thank God every day that it's honestly probably one of the best places to grow up in. I've been there since my first grade year in their grade school, and then I went through middle school, obviously, and I'd walked across the parking lot. Like you said, the community, it's awesome. At school, everybody knows everybody. The teachers are cool. It's still structured and organized, classrooms, and it's just an overall great place to be. The guys, the kids, whether they play sports or not. Sports-wise, that's what I think. How well we're playing right now, in my opinion, I think this year our team chemistry, it's at an unbelievably all-time high, and that's what I think differs us from a lot of people because I hear, from kids all around, we are in the gym together, and then outside of that, we may have a couple conversations other than that, and to us, us at Waltonville, after practice, after games, we're all outside of on the court, the field, anything. We're all, just connecting with each other. And I think that plays a big part because sometimes you got to take a break from all that. Us, we have high expectations, every year since my freshman year. And I feel like when we get away from that and you get that team bonding, doing something else other than that, I think that absolutely contributes to how we play, but like you said, the community especially. I've never seen as many people, come out and support. And I believe before my class came through, we weren't as good, but still, it was night in, night out. We had, our whole side was full.
I'm going to brag on you a little bit. You don't even know what I'm getting ready to talk about, but I have a son that just graduated from Benton. And so going in, I knew they were going to be really good last year. So going into his senior year that summer, you played Benton over at Pinckneyville in the summer. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to tell you this, and you don't know what I'm going to say to you, but I told some guys from Benton that were sitting next to me, Dr. Tedeschi is a Division I basketball player. He's redshirted at Colorado State. You gave him all he wanted. You didn't back down from him. Yeah. That had to make you feel good to know that you could play with a guy that's, obviously, Docker is a generational talent for us over here.
Yeah. I remember Johnny Logan's got that fall league that they had every year, and I remember when I first started playing that with my freshman year, Docker was, a man amongst men, and he was, taller, lengthier than everybody. His wingspan was
like 7'3".
Yeah. And I remember my freshman year, I could get nothing, around, up, and under. Anything. But I remember there were games that, I knew that playing against a guy like that could only make me better. Docker obviously is a great player. You said, is he redshirting this year, or is he good to go this year?
He's redshirting this
year. He's redshirting this year, yes.
I've seen pictures and stuff on Instagram. I just didn't know. But, like you said, props to him. I can only just, do my best against a guy like that, 7'4".
You didn't back down, though, is what I'm saying.
Yes.
You're younger, but you went right.
Yeah.
Some guys, I watched him play a lot of ball. Coached him when he was little. Obviously, saw him all 4 years of high school. Some guys would shy away from that. You took it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's got to help you for this your senior year and then for college going forward.
And Coach likes, when Coach puts us against, bigger schools like that, like Docker, you're not going to see Dr. Tedeschi in 1A.
Right.
You're not going to see a 6'7" kid with 7'4" wingspan that can shoot the three ball and block shots like no other. You know what I mean? And that can only make, even besides me, that just makes us all better playing people like that.
For sure.
Yeah, no doubt, especially because in 1A, I'm sure that makes you adjust your shot differently because I learned to shoot from different angles. Travis, I'm sure you remember this, but he had triple doubles with blocks, rebounds, and points.
Yeah.
And it's just he's a special player, but getting to see those guys are fun. And I think I wouldn't want to imagine what it would be like in 1A. No diss to 1A, but you know what I mean? That's just a big player. Yeah. But I'm sure you're excited to see those type of guys, and it's clearly helped you guys out
so much. Just makes you better.
Yes.
You guys have been battle tested a lot. You guys went against some 3A teams last year. You went against another 3A team, beat them 2As.
How about that? that weekend you guys had last year where you had, was it Marion and Centralia?
Yes, it was.
And that's nuts.
And Centralia played Mount Vernon before that. We played Friday night at Marion, and then we played.
Were you there?
Yes, he was there.
Yeah.
Russ was there, and then I want to say, I don't know if it was in the morning. I want to say it was that Pinckneyville shootout.
Yeah.
And we played Centralia.
You about beat Centralia.
And we about beat Centralia.
Oh yeah.
That game still, we.
Sore subject
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
close.
You didn't screw up or anything, did you?
No.
Okay, let's make sure. I didn't bring up like
No.
Travis.
No,
I haven't slept since
it
then.
was just one of those games that we had right there,
Yeah.
and we obviously didn't fall our way, but that giving it. I mean, I think Centralia was like fifth or sixth in the state at that time, and coming
3A.
off a 3A school, Marion. Like I remember, Marion was 6'4".
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they were
maybe
loaded.
5 across the board.
Yeah, you got Ray Sicky in there too,
Yeah.
like 18 foot
Yeah,
tall.
yeah.
Is he-
And then turn around playing against Centralia, like I said earlier, that's only makes you better because you're not going to see that in 1A.
Sure.
Yeah, no doubt. You gave Centralia everything you wanted, and that's all you can do, especially against a 3A team like them. And are they still the all-time winningest? Or
I don't know. It changes all the time. Old orphan Annies.
But yeah, I mean that's just all you can do, and I think that's what made you guys so much better and prepared you guys for so much. Obviously, you guys ran to Meridian. Meridian, they're under David Davis. Meridian was.
Oh.
If you were
They were never out of a game.
Yeah, if you were a 3A team, you're afraid of them.
Never.
That's not
Or
a
a
team.
4A team you're probably afraid of. I mean, they just pressed the. Yes.
Yes.
A lot of. I used to joke. It feels like there's 8 dudes on the floor. I mean, you played against them,
Oh,
man.
yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
honestly, it
I
feels like
agree.
any pass you make, they can get there.
I think my freshman year, it was perhaps even more worse than what it was my sophomore and junior.
Okay, what's going on? Strobe light. Doc, you awake?
We're
Get
good.
off TikTok over there, trying to get a date.
Strobe lights.
We got strobe lights. What happened? Is it?
Battery getting low?
I don't know.
We're not the mans of this operation.
Are you awake?
I'm about to fall asleep.
Wow.
We
Thanks a lot.
um
I hope you watch this. Yes, it's great.
forgot what we were talking
I don't know, Doc. Talking about playing. Who are we talking about?
Oh, we're talking about playing Marie. I was going to talk about
19 guys on the floor.
yeah. Even my freshman year, that's when I think Roderick Gatewood,
Yeah.
Yes. Roddy G.
Roddy,
Roddy G. Famous picture of Ryder Watson and
dude, he was. I think he dropped.
at the Pinckneyville gas station. I got a picture of might have been on Barstool before.
Can we get this thrown up on the screen?
I can get it to somebody, I guarantee. Yes, we can get that picture on the screen. It'd be a great picture to have up there.
But Roger Gatewood, yeah, obviously.
Oh, he was unbelievable.
I mean, like 19 hands. I mean, they were.
He's
They were
everywhere.
Yeah, they were. I think we played against 4 or 5 seniors. They had 4 or 5 seniors that year that they started and played, and I think Gatewood had 50 against us. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I remember one of my teammates, Brennan. It was actually Brennan. He said he was guarding him, and he slapped. He went up to shoot and literally slapped, like clotheslined his arm from shooting, and he still made it. And no foul was called, and he still made it.
How about the shot he made to beat Weber that one year?
Was it Wayne City? I think
Wayne-
it was Wayne City.
I don't know who. Yeah, Wayne. This is one of the craziest shots I've ever
Yes.
seen.
Darren was there for the
Was
footage.
that like a regional or a sectional?
Sectional semi.
Sectional semi.
Unbelievable.
I remember a funny story about that. I was watching the area sports. I was watching that live,
I was too.
and it had buffered,
Mm-hmm.
and my phone had buzzed, and my basketball group chat, like they're of course
Going
watching
crazy.
it, and I wasn't thinking of anything because it was like a full possession before it happened.
Yeah.
And I'm like, surely it's not nothing about the game. And I open it, and it's a video of the shot going in, and I'm like, so now I'm like, I'm not gonna say anything because my family was watching. So I just watch it, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I know.
You know what's going in.
Yeah, and he shoots it like this over. I think it was Justin and other
It was
big
the
guys.
craziest looking
It was
shot I've ever
craziest
seen.
shot ever. Yeah.
To
It was
win a
insane.
game.
Yeah.
He's just an outstanding player, and that's the type of guys you guys had to play. I mean, obviously, I think 1A and 2A and 3A, they all have their different dynamics of how basketball is played.
Southern Illinois has some great basketball. No matter
Yeah.
big school, small school. definitely sometimes not with you guys, but sometimes in the past, 1A had more of the mentality, 2A a lot. More of a just get out there and get after it, run up and down a lot. I know that's not. It's changed, but sometimes people used to say, they're just, it's just kind of loosey-goosey, renegade, get up and down, shoot threes, don't guard anybody. You guys have proved Woodlawn, Weber, Waltonville, Goreville, they'll be thankful. Usually I call it Goatville. I said Goreville. Thank you, folks. I'm just kidding. Goreville beat Benton this year. I'll shut my mouth. They beat us by double digits, okay? But Goreville, great basketball. I had to get that little dig in there. But some great basketball is being played with the smaller schools this year. Great basketball.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I see it all the time now. Like Weber, I think, goes to Nashville at the end of their season. I mean, it's just, and that's props to their coaches, especially Mr. Larry. He'll take us to war with anybody, and I believe when you've got a coach like that believes in his guys, that only boosts, your team's confidence and playing. I mean, he believes that he said himself that he'll take us against the Lakers, the Bulls, anybody. He goes, I will take you guys anywhere against anybody. So.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt. And I think that only prepares you guys. Because obviously in past years, 1A has always been loaded, but take a look at this year. You got Sparta, Carlisle, Weber, Waltonville, yourself, Woodlawn, Goreville, all the usuals, and then go ahead and throw a couple more that could probably compete in there. I think that helps you guys out a lot.
Russ just hiccuped there. I didn't know we were going to have to do. I didn't know what just happened. What just happened, Russ? Are you okay?
I had a hiccup. And I was trying to continue talking.
Watching Julius Randle on the screen over there.
Hey, UK alum.
Oh, no, I'm a UK fan, but they're playing terrible. Our Pope's going to get fired. Russ, let me ask, one last thing you want to ask my man Gage here. He's got a big game coming up in 2 days. What do you think, buddy?
Well, just talking about basketball, and obviously it's a big game, and you get to go play against your friends. But going into this, how do you guys prepare for it without just thinking about all the not just X's and O's, not just the fans? What do you guys think about? How do you prepare for this game?
Well, like I said earlier, Coach has said many times that if we play our game and be like us, it should not, all that extra noise, all the talk on Facebook, social media, and everybody talking about the tickets and all the uproar about the tickets and stuff like that. We got to ignore all that. Worry about everybody, for each other, play for each other, and just play the way we've been playing, and just be us. If we just move into this game it's just another. Obviously, it's a big rivalry, but if we move forward just with that one game at a time, be us mentality, I believe that we'll be in pretty good shape.
Heck yeah.
Well, I think that wraps up our third guest. He's got a.
We'll probably have him back in a month.
I'm sure, no doubt. He can come back during baseball season too, as he's a good baseball player, and they got a loaded program over there. But we just appreciate you making the trip down here, as you just got out of practice and you got a big game to prepare for. And
it means a lot to us, seriously, that you take time out to do this.
And we just want to wish you luck with that, because seriously, it does mean a lot, as Travis says. Getting any guests, especially to travel, because we're out in the boonies here. We're not in Benton. We're out in the boonies almost. But
we're out in the Rend Lake cabins in the woods, and sometimes when you're out here, you're worried that you'll never leave.
But just thank you.
By a wolf or a coyote.
Good luck, and we hope the best for you guys for the rest of the season.
I'm going to ask him this. We're being real nice. We're going to cut the BS. Who's winning Friday?
Oh, yeah, that is a good.
Who's winning Friday?
The Waltonville Spartans. Absolutely, Waltonville Spartans.
Love it, man.
100%.
Love it. Appreciate it, Gage.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
you guys got a great thing going here, and Russ, I know the videos you put together, great thing you got going, especially with the podcast and everything. You guys have upped everything. Like you said, you've got new places, new locations, and obviously new equipment. Your camera, everything's just different, and you're improving. So, like I said, I appreciate you guys having me on, and thank you a lot.
What a show, Russ. What a show.
Yes, it was a good show. Obviously, we had three great guys. We had Nick Hill.
Does it get bigger than that?
No.
Our area, does it get bigger?
No, it does not really. And I said Gage Peterson, and he's got a big game this Friday. And
he does.
You had Coach WILLS.
Yeah, 3 big-time guests.
Yeah. it feels like this just gets more fun.
To the next level. I feel like we went next level.
Yes, I enjoyed each week, and I'm just happy that we get to continue doing this because it's a fun thing, especially to hear from them share their testimonies and all of
Yes.
that. And then we talk basketball, we talk football. It's just all really fun. I think this is, I don't know, I think this is what makes Southern Illinois is keeping God at the forefront. And then you
Yeah.
obviously have the high school sports there. I don't know, there's just not much better in my opinion.
Russ, before we get out of here, I got to make sure we're Rend Lake Cabins in the Woods, where they've got 93 locations. Check them out, Rend Lake Cabins in the Woods. But don't forget the verse of the week.
I know, I got it pulled up right
Don't
here.
forget the verse of the week, Russ.
It's probably one of the more important things on this
Yeah,
episode.
Russ. Let's hear it. Verse of the
And,
week. Get your passcode in there.
Verse of the week is from Galatians. It's like we're in Galatia, I guess.
That's where you grew up.
Yeah, and here it is. And let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up. So then, as we have opportunity, let us do good to everyone, and especially do to those who are of the household of faith. Galatians 6, verses 9 through 10.
Can't go wrong with Galatians. You can't go wrong doing what's right. And I think, honestly, Coach Hill probably had no clue what the verse of the week was. He might not. I mean, honestly.
No.
And a lot of what he talked about is in that verse.
Yes. And
How impressed was his I don't care. I'm serious. My dad told me this. He said, Travis, I don't care how great of a football coach he is. I don't know how great of a basketball and football player he was. He could be a minister. He's unbelievable the way he talked. He didn't even want to talk football. He wanted to talk shaping lives.
I know we really, I don't know that
He talked about shaping lives.
How much of that did we talk about football is my question. Obviously, we talked about the players, but we only really talked football for about 3 or 4 minutes, I think.
I was very impressed. And I thought it was really cool hearing Coach WILLS talk about how he hit rock bottom after, being done with Rend Lake and moving on. He was going to go to a college in Tennessee, and then he ends up not staying there. And I thought it was really awesome to hear a guy that's coached 30 years of college basketball kind of talking about how God shaped his life.
Yeah, and obviously we didn't talk much with Gage about it, but Gage is a good Christian too. And
Yeah, next time he's on, we'll get it on there.
yeah, and it's just, I don't know, that's what we love to
Yes.
see, and especially those coaches that pour into the kids, especially Rend Lake College. They got a good program there,
Yes.
and then Coach Nick Hill. SIU is great down there with how they are with their football program.
Right. Here's what I'm excited about, Russ, and we've got to get this out there. Next week's show. So this show will come out Thursday the 18th, 1 week before Christmas. Our Christmas special is going to be the blowout of all blowouts.
Yes, we're gonna have.
I mean, how many guests have I told you? Don't give names yet, but how many people are we up to?
Potentially 20.
Potentially 20 guests! 20 guests!
How are we gonna fit that on thumbnail? Are we just gonna get a big group picture somehow?
Huge group picture. I mean, we're going to be in the rec room. I mean, Doc Young he's excited. He's fallen asleep 4 times tonight already. He saw a homeless guy in Benton earlier carrying a bag of stuff. He was nervous.
But yeah, it's
Austin, my man.
Christmas.
You awake? He's tired. Doc's tired. Christmas special is going to be nuts.
yes, it's
It's
not,
gonna be nuts.
It's not just about Christmas either.
No.
We all know the real reason. It's about Jesus.
Jesus is the reason for the season.
Yes. And
We stood up the whole show.
we did stand up.
We
the
stood
whole
up. Are your knees okay?
Yeah, my knees are okay. It's just my feet.
Your feet? Yeah, you didn't wear shoes.
I do need to wear the shoes, but we appreciate you tuning in, and we just thank you for listening to us rant for hours. And
A lot of fun.
We hope you guys have a Merry Christmas as you'll be back here, hopefully, to check out the Christmas special.
Christmas night. This show will come out the 18th, but the Christmas night show, it's going to be wild.
Yes. It's comes out 4 p.m. Weekly 4 p.m. show Thursdays.
Don't forget on Instagram, TikTok for Terry Gower, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, Napster, YouTube, LinkedIn. I don't even know. Truth Social. It's on. It's out there.
You can Gmail us probably.
You can probably Gmail us. I'm still leaning down like it matters.
WhatsApp, that's a good one too.
WhatsApp. Yeah, it's on a lot of stuff. There's one. It's retail me not. All right.
All right.
I gotta leave on that.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys next week.